Good morning. We want to welcome you this morning to Kingdom Conversations, and we're excited about this session because today we have with us Dr. Yolanda Shields, and we are here talking about her newest book called The Gig Economy. And we want to know from Dr. Yolanda, what is the gig economy?
Yes. Well, the gig economy is really the new workforce, I believe. It's those side hustles, those side gigs that people will start. They could be working a full-time job, but most people want multiple streams of income. So the gig economy, and with technology, it's really allowed it to grow. So those side hustles, it could be you selling jewelry on the side. If you sew, you're making things on the side. You're a baker, you're baking on the side, and you haven't started it full time, and you're selling it to people you go to church with, those in your community, on a part-time basis.
Well, that's exciting. So tell us, why did you write the book? And part two is, what do you want the reader to take away from this? What's the takeaway?
Yes. So I really started thinking about it during the pandemic. When the pandemic and the lockdown happened, I started getting calls from even clients that I have, other people saying, okay, my job has closed. I'm trying to figure out what I can do. And I started giving them advice on, okay, what are you good at?
There you go.
What do you have a passion for that you can do from your home, and you can sell, or you can mail to people, or you can have some digital products? That Etsy site will allow people to really do digital things where they can sell and not have to even deal with mailing it. Right. So it was during the pandemic that I realized people needed some other sources of income. And if you look at statistics, the gig economy grew by almost 80% during the pandemic.
Wow, that's amazing. So, what we want Dr. Yolanda to explain to us is, as she told you why she was writing the book, but tell the people, what do you want them when they get this book? And by the way, I have a copy of the book right here, okay? What do you want them to take away once they have read this? What would you like to see happen?
Yes. What I would like to see happen, one of the things that I see and I put in the book is a lot of people will start side gigs and side hustles. They're getting paid through the cash apps and the different kind of apps to get their payments. But they forget at the end of the year, they owe taxes.
Yes.
In the beginning with the cash apps and the PayPals, they weren't really tracking. But if you're selling something over $500 during the year, you have to file taxes. So I want people to actually know that if you're thinking about taking your side gig full-time, count the cost. What is it going to cost you to be able to take it full-time? What are the legal things you need to put in place? You need to get a license for your business. But also in the book, I put in there some pages where they can start just like really journaling. What are the things that what are the ideas that they have to get them ready? And then what are the processes they have to go through? So I want them to take that away. But also, if they've been doing a side gig part-time, looking at, okay, how can I take that full-time?
Good. Well, and paying the taxes is important because they do need to count the cost, and you do need, if you're going to have a business, you do have to pay taxes, because we know that that's important. You don't want to and if you're not careful, you'll come to the end of the year, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, I owe all this. But if you would put a little bit back, with every sale, put a little bit back, and that's going to help you. So, that's, the logistics of having the side hustle. It's fun to do all the things that, that we do if we're making things and selling them. But there's also the business side of this, where you want to make sure that you're doing it correctly. And I love in the beginning of the book how you talked about, most of us when we were children, We might have had a lemonade stand. You know, I think I remember selling Kool-Aid. Okay, we would sell it, you know, a little cup of Kool-Aid for 5 cents or whatever it was, and we thought we were, you know, really doing something. We were in business. And I remember when our youngest son, you know, he was playing with video games, and he was probably 10 years old. And you know, we were at church, and after the service, I noticed there was a line of kids at our car. And I thought, what are all these children doing at the car? Well, he had brought his whole case of video games, and he was renting them out to his friends.
That's awesome.
And so he was making $2 and $3 off everyone. So, you know, at 10 years old, he was having his little, you know, he was involved in the gig economy. But, you know, now we're grown and we look at things, and now it's much more than a 5-cent cup of Kool-Aid, right?
Exactly.
Because there's many things. So let's talk a little bit about how technology has really helped the gig economy.
Exactly. If you look at these things here, around the world, people have cell phones.
Yes.
Whether they're in the continent of Africa, in Pakistan, in India, in the U.S., in the Caribbean.
Yes.
You can use your phone to start a business.
Yes. Yes.
So there is the boundaries and the obstacles are taken away because of technology.
Right.
Whether you're setting up a website and selling your items on the website, whether you're setting up your phone, and now you even have apps where you can do your website from your phone and set everything up, put the products on there. So technology really has expanded the opportunities for everybody to be able to start something, even kids. I say to parents, my son started a business at 11.
Wow.
Selling things he knew kids loved.
Oh, yes.
And we can have our kids doing the same thing. So it doesn't matter the age.
Right.
To get them started in entrepreneurship with a side gig, with a side hustle. And kids learn all kinds of skills from that. But that technology piece really allows anybody to be able to start something.
Absolutely. And it's important, you know, for you to use what's in your hand. Yes. And you know, for all of us who have cell phones, it is in our hand. Exactly. Okay,
all the time.
It is in our hand. You know, the other thing I think that this gig economy gives us is multiple choices of where to, you know, purchase items or services, because it's not just a product. A lot of times it could be a service, such as a massage therapist or a house cleaner. There's multiple things, and talk about that a little bit to everyone about how, you know, the choices that we have, even internationally.
Exactly. So I think a lot of people look at people that are multimillionaires or billionaires and have these big buildings and these businesses, and they allow that to be an obstacle. But if you really think about it, just like you said, I mean, I coach and consult. Some of my clients are in other countries, and I'm online working with them.
Right.
I don't have to drive anywhere. I don't have to fly anywhere. I can meet with them online. So looking at the tools that are out there to be able to help you to support what you're wanting to do is really key. But at the end of the day, are you willing to put in the work?
That's a key.
That it's going to take, whether you're doing it as a side hustle or you want to take it full time. What kind of time do you have available? And I hear a lot of people saying, I really don't have time. I don't have time. And so what I do, I have them write down their day. And I'm like, okay, you're on Facebook 2 hours. Okay, there's some time. You're watching Netflix for an hour. That's some time. So we have the time. It's about what's important to us.
Right.
Do we really want it, or do we just really want to talk about it?
Right, and I think that's a lot of the issue, that, you know, we have a lot of things up here that we think about, but it has to come from up here, you know, into the real world, and we have to walk it out. You know, walk it out. And you know, I really like in the back of the book, you have mapping, side gig ideas, and this is where you can begin to jot down some of your ideas that you might have for a side gig. And then also, she has a section where it says map it out. In other words, she's helping you to put what's in your mind and what you've been thinking about onto the paper. Write it out, write it out and look at it and, speak over it, pray over it, and see as it will come to pass. Because as you work at anything, what you give your attention to will obviously expand. And, I also think it was really good. You talked about the difference between being in something full-time and part-time. And what are some of the things that we have to consider if we are going to do it full-time?
Yes. I think we have to consider how much time do we have available to put into it. Because if you don't think about that ahead of time, you quit.
Right.
You give up. You're like, oh, I don't have the time. Or you don't look at where there's some time available. One of the things I wanted to start debunking about the gig economy and side hustles is every time I would see people coming from other countries, most of them have 3 and 4 jobs.
Right.
And people would say, why are you doing all of that? Why are you working so much? Why do you have 3 jobs? And I always wondered that even about people coming from the continent of Africa until I went. I said, everybody's an entrepreneur here. There are businesses all on the street. People are selling everything. And I wanted them not to feel like there was something wrong with that when they came here. Because everybody wants multiple streams of income.
Yes.
And so when they're coming in, people are saying, why are you doing these multiple things? And I said, we have to start talking more about it.
Yes.
So that people can see that there's nothing wrong with having multiple streams of income.
Right. And right now, I mean, if we were to take a poll, we would know that with the food costs going up and, utilities going up and gas going up, these side gigs can really play an important part in our budgeting. Right. And I really see that right now because, I don't know about you, but when I've gone to the grocery store, I'm like, whoa, what used to be $5 is $10.
Exactly.
And it has really gone up. So I think this would be, such an added, asset to your budget each month. If you would just stop and think, hey, what is it that I can do?
Exactly.
What can we do?
And we see it a lot with people driving for Uber, Lyft, delivery. College students, like, I need tuition money, I need money to eat. A lot of them are doing those side gigs.
Right.
And one of the things we're seeing, even with the Uber and Lyft companies, that they were considering those people independent workers. But now there's this fight in courts where they're saying at a certain level, they're now your employee. And so even with the side gig workers, when it starts to grow and you grow it, you have to bring on additional staff, and that's a whole different kind of process and system and legalities that you have to put in place if you're going to have employees.
Absolutely. Well, to sum everything up, what would you, like to say to those that are watching this morning about the gig economy?
I would say this is an opportunity. I believe during COVID, a lot of times when things like that happen, when the pandemic happened, a lot of people look at the problems. And if you start thinking like an entrepreneur and thinking like a business person, you start saying, okay, this is going on. What problems can I take advantage of? Just like the people that sold millions of masks during pandemic. Made lots of money. So when you see those kinds of things happening, don't just look at what the problems are. Look at how you can be a solution or how you can make money during that time. And during this time where we're seeing the increases in groceries and other things, what are something you can do to bring additional income into your household? If you're a young person, always going to your parents for money, figure out how you can start a side hustle or a side gig to bring that revenue in, because it will make a difference. And then those that are already doing side gigs, it may be time for you to kind of take that full-time, or if you've been doing it less than part-time, doing it a little bit more. But if your vision is to have it full-time, this is the time to start looking at what is it going to take for you to be able to do that.
Great. And so the book is The Gig Economy, and you can get this book on Amazon and at Barnes & Nobles. And there's some other books that Dr. Yolanda has written, so you might want to go on Amazon and check that out. If you have any comments or any questions, you can just go ahead and put them in the message below, and we would be glad to answer any questions that you might have. And so we want to thank you so much for being here today. And I think it's such a great thing, and this is why, because we are people who love the Lord, and we have the Creator, we have the Creator in us. And therefore, we have creative minds. And a lot of times people think, well, I really don't, but they do. So, get this book and get into the back where it says, jot down those ideas, those things that you're passionate about, the things that you would like to see changed in the world, and you be a part of that solution. And so we thank you so much for being here today. We thank you for watching, and we would love to hear from you. Go out and get this book, okay? This would make a great Christmas present for you to give, especially to young people or to those that you might know that could use a little extra income. So thank you so much. God bless you, and we will see you soon.